Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about strings. We can talk about how we can use strings and how we can manipulate strings to do what we want. So in the previous video we talked about assignment operators. So we're going to just create a new file and we're going to call it strings.js. So to start off we're going to create two variables and we're going to put in two strings for these variables. So I'm going to just set let and s1. S1 is going to be our variable name. It's going to be short for string1, and I'm going to set it equal to Ryan. So for my second string, I'm also going to have it as a let, which means I'll be able to change it. So I'm going to set its name to s2, short for string2, and I'm going to put its contents equal to hill. So if we want, we can add strings together, right? So we can see this if we use a console log. So if I just go console.log and then I place in my string names, I'll be able to see it. So for example, if I put in s1 and then I put in plus s2, right? So if I do this and I go and run it, we'll see our output. So we can see our name Ryan and our second name Hill. They're both displayed using this plus operator. Now if we were to take away this plus operator and try and run it, you would see we get a problem, okay? Because the compiler, or our computer, doesn't know what we mean by this s2. It doesn't recognize it as a second variable. So we need to put the plus operator in there. Now there's still a little bit of an issue here, and the issue is our Ryan and our Hill are both connected together. So this doesn't look great because we usually want to have a space between Ryan and Hill. So one way we could get around this is to put a space in the actual string itself. So we could put a space before the H in Hill, or we could put a space at the end of the N in Ryan. So either of these solutions would work, and I'm going to run this to show you what it would look like. So we can see that this is acceptable. It says Ryan Hill and we have a space between them. But we can also do a little bit better, okay? So at least we're using variables. It's not the same as us just creating a string in here with something like maybe Ryan Hill. Okay, we could also do this and we could run this and we would get the exact same output. The problem is it's not very good from a modular approach. And when I mean modular, I mean if we wanted to change our name Ryan, let's assume that there was many different console logs within our program and they all said Ryan Hill. In that example, we would need to go through and change all the Ryans. If we wanted to change Ryan's first name or we want to change Ryan's second name, we'd have to go through all of them. So imagine instead of one console log here, we have maybe 3 of them. So now you can see if we wanted to change Ryan to Chris, we would have to go and change each of these 3 names to Chris, while when we're using variables like s1 and s2, we could just go and change one value. So we would change our contents up here from Ryan to Chris. But as I was saying, there's also a better approach. So let's get rid of these other 2 console logs because we don't want them. We can use a thing called a string template. String templates allow us to use normal text. So we could say my name is, and then we can use a variable name. So for this example, we could say my name is Ryan, but then if we switched out Ryan for a different name, we could then display that name. So if we do console.log and we use backticks, now backticks will be found just to the left of the number 1 on your keyboard. When we use these backticks, we can use normal text. So we can put, like, let's say something. So something will be displayed as normal text. Okay, and to make a little bit more sense of this, we'll say my name is, And then what we want to do is we want to display S1, right? So we could say our name is Ryan, like this. So if we display this, we'll see this displays what we want. So my name is Ryan. But the problem is, if I go and change this, it doesn't have any effect. We're not using the variables that we've defined here, so it's a little bit pointless even having the variables if we're going to put Ryan in here. So what we want to do is we want to use our variable name. So let's say S1. Okay, so we'll try this out. Now there's an issue with this, because when we try and run this with S1, we actually get S1 displayed, because the computer doesn't know that we want to display the variable S1. It doesn't recognize that there's a variable called S1. So to let the computer know that there's a variable that we want to use, we do this by using curly braces or curly brackets. So you'll find these over the right hand side of your keyboard near the enter button, and you're going to hold down the shift key and then you're going to hit the two brackets. So you need an opening bracket and you need a closing bracket, and just before the opening bracket you need to put a $sign. So you'll find the $sign as the number 4. So if you just hit the number 4 on your keyboard, it'll pop up with the number. Then if you hold down shift and then hit 4, you get this $sign. And notice the way that the $sign and the curly brackets are lit up in a slightly different color. So that's a good sign, and it's really useful when we're coding, because we know that this part of the code is slightly different in some way than the rest of it. So we can see this and we view this orange text as normal text, and then we can view this light blue text as a variable. So if we go and run this now, we can run and we can see my name is Ryan. So you can do all sorts of cool things. So for example, we could change this S2. So rather than using Hill, we'll use James. And what we could do is you could put whatever you want in here, but just know that you can use multiple variables in the one string template. So we could have my name is Ryan and my best friend is. So rather than writing James, which we could do, but we want to use our S2 variable, so we're going to define our curly braces and we're going to put a $sign in front of that, and now we're going to put in our variable name. So this is S2, so we put in S2 and we're going to run this and see, do we get my name is Ryan and my best friend is James. So if we go and hit run, we can see my name is Ryan and my best friend is James.